What started off as an ideal in 2021 has become more than just a podcast. Empower716, a platform where entrepreneurs and dreamers come together to share their stories, build their brand, and inspire the next generation of business leaders. We celebrated 24 young entrepreneurs invested over $15,000 into the hands of young-led businesses, and with the help of sponsors and community supporters, we're making sure that this impact doesn't stop here. "50 episodes in, and we're just getting started. From our very first episode to today, this podcast has done more than just tell stories. We've built a community. We've given a platform to entrepreneurs, young visionaries, and business owners who are making moves in their industry and their city. To every guest, to every listener, to every business that was a part of our journey, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing. And most of all, thank you for inspiring the next person to take that leap. Elevate, empower, evolve. Here's to the next 50.
I think that's one of our superpowers as working together as a couple, is that neither one of us is going to let each other fall. You know, in the Bible it says, I'm paraphrasing, but it says two is better than one. I know she got my back and vice versa.
But you just got to keep trying to give it time in all the areas. Just like we delegate for our business, we have to delegate in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah. In our community and everything had to change as we grow, you know, because the more the business demand, the more you're going to need that support behind you. And you can't do it by yourself. As they say, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. The same thing. You need a village behind your marriage. Yeah.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Empower716. I'm your host, Rob Laurie. And so this is our 50th episode. And so we are excited to bring another business owner to the show. As you know, this podcast is dedicated to uplifting, showcasing, highlighting business owners and entrepreneurs and career shifters and those side hustlers that are trying to make a difference in our community. And so I have the pleasure of introducing two individuals, married couple, but doing business together. And so we have Lee and Lavenia from Radah Baked Goods.
My name is Lee Thomas.
And I'm Lavenia Thomas.
And we are Radah Baked Goods. And thank you for watching Empower 716.
It was great to see the things that you're doing, because seeing you at 12 and now every time I look around, I'm seeing your businesses all over the place.
It's hard to get that, your brand name out there.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, like, what do you do to get your brand out there? I said, you ever saw the show Johnny Bravo? How he lived in his closet and he had the same outfit every single day. I said, my clothes are clean, but I said I wear my uniform every single day.
There you go.
I said if I had to do it for somebody else every single day, wear somebody else's brand every single day, why I cannot do it for myself? Usually every single day you would see me with a Radah, jacket on or some type of branding with our logo, because when we out, people are like, I saw that logo from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I know where it's located. So I feel like, wearing your brand identity or seeing your brand every single day, it has to click to people.
Awesome. Before we get into the business, I always like to start on the personal level. How did you guys become a union? Like, what was, kind of tell me that story.
It's a funny story. We went to the same high school, but didn't know that we were there. He's 2 years my senior, so I just was one of those students, went to class, went home. That was it. Like, I didn't really talk too much. I didn't stay to conversate. I just kind of went to class, went home. So it was funny that after we graduate, his cousin was actually in my class.
Okay.
We graduated 2010, same year. So it was through her that I kind of...
I guess at the time, social media, internet dating was getting popular. I saw her on Facebook and, I was like, oh, she cute. And I seen that, we went to the same high school. And I was like, what? No, how did I not see her for 4 years of high school? Everything happened in its timing, with God. And, my cousin reached out to her, kind of put some things together. And, we made it, started dating. Long story short, my wife, she went to culinary school and I went to Buff State and I got my higher ed degree. And when COVID happened, we had a lot of time on our hands. At the time, I was working for Canisius College ATS program. And we started to realize that, we didn't want to rely on the government at the time. So, everybody was getting those stimmy checks. I was like, that's what they call it, stimmy checks. So I'm like, how can we reinvest this? What can we do together? I value family. I want to be home with my family. I said, what can we do? And that's when my wife, she went back to school, college, graduated at ECC. We kind of just put our careers together. Growing up in the community center, I already had that community impact, being part of that community. And my wife had artistic background and skills in culinary arts outside of, baking. And we kind of just put one together. And at this time, I was at home watching a sermon by Miles Monroe, one of my favorite pastors. And he was teaching a sermon on the word Radah. And it means dominion and power. And I'm like, since we're so community driven, I said, how about we start a business in this industry and we name it Radah and use it as a platform to educate people that look like us.
Wow.
And give back to the people that look like us as well, or anybody, that wants to be with us. And as time flew, we said, you know what, let's start calling everybody who buys from us, support us, the Radah family. So every time we communicate with our clients or corporate clients as well, everybody call us the Radah family. So the Radah family is basically a definition of, adopting or being an extension to your family and making that part feel inclusive, bringing people together, breaking bread together. So that's basically what the Radah family means.
The funny part, I was one of those kids that you would ask, like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And I would be like, I'm not sure, but I know it's something business related because I always had a heart for it. Always had an eye for it. Used to save money early on as a kid and just go buy stuff and make jewelry, sell it. Like, I've done Kool-Aid, all of that stuff, like bake sales as a kid, you name it, I probably did it. So I always knew it was business oriented. I knew I had a heart for people. I knew I like art and things of those nature, like around that. But I never knew where to channel that energy. So meeting Lee, he kind of used his skills, like from
advising skills.
Yeah. And we kind of just like hashed it out, like, why don't you try baking? And so that's what I did. Late 2017, we started signing me back up for school. 2018 came. That's when I went back. And next thing you know, COVID is here. I was also pregnant with our first child during my classes.
So he's the same age as the business.
Kind of there the whole way through it. So that was an interesting, but yeah, it came together in perfect timing because we were going to wait till he was about a year old to start the business, like officially launch it. But like he said, with COVID, it kind of aligned like the timing and the funds. So we just went for it.
Yep. So we reinvested, the STEMI check. We also went, before we ever actually started the business, we did a well worth of research before getting into this industry. We even went to several bakers around Buffalo, New York, sit down, talk to them, learn their experience, what necessary steps they taken, to get their business off the ground. At the time, my wife was listening to Earn Your Leisure when they first came out. So she got me hooked onto EYL. When they had their very, very first Invest Fest in Atlanta, we went during COVID, and their very first event was very impactful. They talk about financial literacy, real estate, financing, how to build up your credit, personal and on the business side as well, how to leverage your personal credit to use it on your business side. So there's a lot of things that we was accounted for before we even just started this bakery business. It wasn't just a wake up call like, oh, let's bake cookies one day. No, we took some strategic steps, some steps, some strategic planning and some necessary steps to build a foundation for our business, because we know for a fact that if something goes wrong, we know that we can fall on each other. I think that's one of our superpowers as working together as a couple, is that neither one of us is going to let each other fall. In the Bible, it says, I'm paraphrasing, but it says two is better than one. I know she got my back and vice versa.
Wow. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How is life? I'm always interested to know, like, far as a single entrepreneur and business owners, is a challenging in itself. Now then you add marriage into it. Yeah. And not just marriage where you could be an entrepreneur and your spouse could be just working a 9 to 5, but you both are living in it as co-owners in this. How do you navigate that and separate the family time, the business time, or is that even a thing?
I would say you just got to keep trying at it. Like the balance might look different from month to month, but you just got to keep trying to give it time in all the areas. Just like we delegate for our business, we have to delegate in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah. I would definitely say just setting boundaries for yourself, protect yourself, your marriage. It's an ongoing thing. It's a learning curve. We'll be, 7 years married? 5 years in the business, 8 years altogether. So it's definitely a learning curve, especially you got two boys, we got a 5 and a 9-year-old. So they are everywhere with us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I say everywhere in meetings. So they see from the ground up. There's nothing wrong with having mom and pop shops. Mom and pop shops was thriving in our community back in the day. And I just wanted to get that genuine feel that, you can see black couples, black married couples working together without an issue. I mean, we have our differences, but we have a support system behind us that help us with those differences.
Yeah.
But having Black Wall Street come back and one business at a time, you start to see other trends that, okay, other couples are starting to do business with each other. Lee and Lavenia could do it. Why can it not work for us? So we just want to get that blueprint all over again that, it starts at home, and that's what we educate our sons about, being our own bank. How do we, funnel money with each other, growing up without having to rely on outside resources all the time until it's needed. But let's rely on each other first. When you look around Buffalo, you notice things are changing. Right. And you see, and I'm not mad that things are changing. I'm actually learning their playbook. We need to learn how to come together. Like, I don't want to kick my boys out when they're 18 or 20 or 25 years old. You see other cultures, they still there until late 30s, until they ready to marry. I'm not going to push my kids out if they're not ready.
Yeah.
So what we're known for mostly is taking an older concept and flipping it in a different way.
Okay.
But before I explain that, the reason why we pick certain products is because we are in Black Rock, right?
Yeah.
So we're in a community that doesn't really know too much about our community. So we wanted to give them something different, but also give them something that they can experience a piece of our culture. So for example, we have the sweet potato brownie, which is based off of a sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
But the flavor profile is the same, but the texture is different. So it's like a spin on it. It's one of our top sellers.
Wow.
And we also have the apple crisp brownie, which is similar to an apple pie if you're into those. So we give old with a new remix, but we can also do things that are more traditional. We also have products that are like the gluten-free, sugar-free. If you need keto, if you need vegan products, we do that as well.
Wow.
So we have like a lot under our belt that we do.
We are heading, towards, more dietary restrictions. A lot more people in our community and generation is health conscious.
Yes.
A lot of people want to know what they're intaking in. We tell them, ingredient, word for word, what's putting in. Nothing's artificially, even with our vegan chocolate chip cookies, they sell more than our regular chocolate chip cookies.
Really? I'm looking at them right now. I'm like, looking at the peanut butter ones right now.
We're always pivoting our menu, learning, from the big dogs as well. So we always trying to keep it, simple and consistent, because that's what people like. They know what they're getting every time.
I call it comfort baking because it's the stuff that you're used to seeing, but sometimes done in a different way.
Like, what kind of keeps you guys like motivated and aligned to like, okay, this is why we're in it. The why, like what pushes you?
I think, like you said, the why. Our children is one of the reasons. Community is another. We have a lot of people within our family that's rooting for us. Can't let them down.
Yeah.
So, and then I think individually we both have like a I'm not a quitter type of attitude.
We're first generation of a lot of things, in our family. So no matter what side it is, we're first to have home ownership. Yeah. First to graduate out of college. First to be married. The first to keep our family together. So there's a lot of breaking barriers that we have in our business. So the resiliency part of it is what we really fall on. And for the last 2 years, we have learned to work a little smarter, not taking on as much as what we used to. Yeah. Getting certain entrepreneurship programs to teach us how to pivot within our business. A lot of people don't know that pivoting is a skill, is an underlying soft skill. And you have to learn how to do that, because if we started during COVID and our business getting slow while we open to the public, we know how to pivot, go back to how we started. So it's not really like we're not slowing down, we're not closing, we're just pivoting in our business. And a lot of people think that just because you're pivoting, your business is about to shut down. You don't have to completely shut down. You just pivot, go back to the drawing board and just find out what other streams of income that you could create within your own business. And our community and everything had to change as we grow, because the more the business demand, the more you're going to need that support behind you. And you can't do it by yourself. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. The same thing. You need a village behind your marriage. Yeah. It was faith. It's like we had to go through it. We had to go through that journey. That's what helped us. Reading that book called The Eat Myth is really, really good. My barber gave it to me before we started my business, because he's an entrepreneur himself. Yeah. Shout out to Mr. Thompson, Sean Thompson.
Shout out,
yeah. But once he gave me that book, it stuck to me like glue. And again, like Derek Parsons from Beverly Exchange and Mercedes Wilson Relish, like she's been a wonderful mentor to us. She helped us pivot our business. The whole Westside Bazaar, like there's a lot of programs that we went through to make sure that we had a great foundation behind us. Like I said, we're still students of the game. We're still learning. Yeah. And shout outs to K Crazy Shantice Williams. Like she's like 10 years deep into the industry. Wow. That's somebody that we looked at too as a friendly competitor. People think that there's not enough money in your community to make money, but there's money for everybody, so it's like there's other bakers that we still work with, we talk to, we share resources together. There's nobody in competition. We're all learning from each other. We all trying to make our community better.
I love one is when you talk about pivot as well, is that there are times where points in my business are like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is gonna work financially, right? And you talked about pivot, and you also talked about learning, being a student, always wanting to learn and learning from other people, but then also bringing in other people, getting good wise counsel from other business owners, which is important. And I think, at least from what I see, and I tell people I'm really not on social media a lot, so I kind of get on and off, and so But what I do see out in the community and what you both are bringing to the table as far as your business and the standard that you guys put out there, because anybody can put a product out there.
Correct.
But I watch some of the things that you guys do, and I see you in places and smiles, the service, excellent. Right. And I think that contributes to the work that you've done behind the scenes, kind of like, you've labored, you put in the work, you put in the time, you did the research, and you are getting the benefits off of that, from that. And it's good to see. I love the part where you credit other people, which is, I think, you got to have a good community. And when you win, I win, and we support each other. And I think surrounding yourself with individuals who have that same mindset is needed in our community. So I commend you both on doing not just a service to you and your family, but to the community. So we are almost to an end. I want to just give you guys any last words you want to share, anything you got coming on. And also, although we'll put this on the screen, kind of share your location and how do people do business with you. I know you guys do catering, and I got a couple meetings and stuff coming up, so now I can figure out how I can get some of your product. But anything you guys want to share?
I hate to leave people's name out.
Yeah.
You know how
you didn't say my name.
Right. But please forgive us if we did not mention y'all. But one person I do like the name is that, my mom.
You gotta shut your mom out.
My mom has been the rock in our business, watching our kids last minute whenever we needed her to.
Yeah.
Even April Baskin, Senator April Baskin.
Shout out to April. Yes.
She's been our number one fan since we started the business. Since before she even got any titles. When she was bringing black businesses together, and she was able to get us, even in front of the Buffalo Bills staff.
Nice.
Just the opportunity to have a voice in that space. She brought us to a lot of tables and other businesses as well. And my boy Gregory Crenshaw from Chicken and Waffles.
Awesome.
He has been a great brother and mentor to me as well. That's why I said, bringing the community together is great. Having people that understands, the impact that you're trying to do. And our partnership with Buffalo Public Schools as well, Say Yes Buffalo and Best Self. We do STEAM and STEM programs for them as well.
Wow. So
we do teach children the baking science on the back end as well at our facility.
So we're located at 247 Amherst Street in Black Rock.
Awesome. As I said before, I'm just godly proud. Like I said, seeing Lee, 12 years old, walking in the after school program, into now being a husband, a father, a community leader, and a businessman, which is great. So this wraps up another episode of Empower716. Thanks for locking in.